Hello everyone, it's Emma and welcome back to my channel and welcome to the annual Q&A. If you want to participate in future Q&As, patrons and YouTube members do get first priority, so join over there. And then I also ask on the broad YouTube community page and my Instagram story, so there are plenty of chances for you to ask your questions to be included in this video. Stay tuned next year, and if you want me to do more Q&As, let me know and I can do that as well. If you're new here and this is the first video YouTube is showing you, I do talk about all sorts of things zero waste, focusing on free, easy, and fun ways to live low waste, and you can probably already tell that I talk a little bit fast, and you can change the speed of the video with the gear icon right down here. That's just who I am. So go ahead, grab yourself a drink. I've got a homemade mocha. It's really just instant coffee mixed into homemade hot cocoa powder. Let's get into it. Our first question is from Joseph, and this is a very timely question. Joseph asks, would you still buy something secondhand, open box, in pristine condition, if it's the same price or more expensive than the same thing brand new? As I'm filming this, we just got an apartment. We're moving into it later this weekend, and we are on the hunt for everything secondhand because this is where we have lived for the last year and a half, a little bit more than a year and a half, and our only furniture is our mattress. We have seen a standing desk more expensive than a brand new one on Amazon. Same brand, same product, more expensive secondhand. Like, I don't even care if it's new in box. Selling something secondhand more expensive? Absolutely not okay. So we have definitely said no to that. So for me, no. I'm gonna find a bargain. I'm gonna find something that is nice, high quality, something that I love, that's aesthetically pleasing, and also a good deal. Like, that's why I shop secondhand, of course for the planet, but also to save money. Because why buy a $1,000 couch secondhand when I can buy a brand new $1,000 couch? I think this is really detrimental to the overall secondhand market, because I know so many people shop secondhand explicitly to save money. And if they can't save money while shopping secondhand, why would they shop secondhand? So this is going to be very, very detrimental for secondhand shopping and the planet in the long run. All right, next from Big and Bookish, I love your username. What advice would you give to someone who is recovering from hoarding and trying to shift to eco-friendly lifestyle? Hoarding myself, I have never had to recover from that personally. I do have some videos about decluttering that I will leave tagged above and below. My tips for decluttering, how to donate responsibly. If it is too overwhelming for you to have like a donate pile, a recycle pile, a reuse pile, a mend pile, a trash pile, forget that. Like, if the easiest way for you to get out of this situation is to throw everything away, you gotta do what you gotta do. Of course, I'm gonna advocate for the planet, but we need to take care of ourselves first. And if the best thing that you can do for your physical and mental health is to just throw all that stuff away and start over, that's what you gotta do. But just some general decluttering tips. Start small. If you look at your entire house, whether you're a hoarder or you're just an average person, I think about it smaller. I'm gonna think, okay, first I'm gonna declutter the bookshelf. Once that is done, the entire bookshelf is done, then I'll move on and say, okay, now it's time to declutter the kitchen. One step at a time, and even if you want to take it smaller and start with one kitchen drawer, one shelf on the bookshelf, start as small as you need to make it a little bit more digestible. And if you have time, take as much time as you need. You don't have to declutter everything today. You can declutter one room per week, one shelf per day. And of course, the most sustainable way to declutter is by selling stuff that you can secondhand, recycling stuff, repairing stuff, reusing stuff in a different way, and trying to save the landfill for last. All right, Joseph, back again with another question. Are you playing any video games these days? Off and on, Tears of the Kingdom. I'm not a huge gamer, but I'm obsessed with Zelda games. I completed it this winter, which was a very fun winter project. And then I did start Palia and Stardew Valley this spring, but when we moved to Minnesota, we didn't have any internet. All of my games had needed internet access. So I didn't play video games this summer. I was big into reading this summer. Every now and then when I'm just like, I need to take a break from reading, let me dive back into Tears of the Kingdom. I restarted it recently. Anne and I occasionally play Mario Party or Mario Kart. That's the extent of our video games. All right, moving on to Patreon from Miss M, we have any advice you would tell your younger self? Funnily enough, as I'm filming, today is my birthday. Just general advice I would give my younger self as an environmentalist: start living zero waste and focus so hard on recycling, reusable water bottle, the individual stuff that you can do, and also stressing the perfection. All of the joy was out of my life. I didn't buy any yarn because it was made out of plastic. I didn't buy any candy bars. I didn't buy any ice cream because it came in non-recyclable packaging. I was spending so much time making stuff from scratch: mayonnaise, butter, hummus, milk. I basically had no hobbies because my life was invested in zero waste living, which is fine. Like, it had a positive impact. Man, it wasn't really until probably around my 23rd birthday, so about 3 years ago, that I was like, oh, I have no hobbies anymore. I haven't crocheted in a long time. I haven't read a book in so long. So I started to dial it back. So that would be my advice, like, day one environmentalist me is like, hey, don't forget to keep the hobbies in your life, even if they are a little bit wasteful. Don't forget to enjoy the occasional candy bar, the occasional little treat, even if it comes in plastic. Because yes, every single little thing that we can reduce matters, but me, one person, if I, go out and get one croissant or one muffin from a local bakery in a little plastic package per week, that's not killing the planet. Advice for my younger self in general, I guess it would be something like, quit caring about what people think. Obviously, I still care about that to an extent. Like, I still want my outfit to look cute. I still want my hair to look nice, but I'm starting to do that more for me, right? Like, Like, I started to do a little bit more of my makeup because I like it. I started to style my hair like this because I like it. My hair is blue. Like, younger me, oh my gosh, younger me is so envious that I have blue hair now. I literally wanted blue hair since I was so young. Quit caring what other people think. They have other stuff to worry about, and if they're judging you, like, literally who cares? Like, live the life that you want to live, and that goes for family as well. Don't care what they think. I'm learning to not, because, like, listen, this is my life. If you don't like that I have blue hair, that is fine. I love having blue hair. First from Liza Salter is, what would you say are the 3 most important things an individual can do to protect the environment? I have a full video about this topic. You can check it out right here. But off the top of my head, I'm gonna say vote. And no, I don't just mean vote every 4 years for the president. I mean vote every year. Typically, every state has 2 elections per year. You have a spring primary, and then you have the official vote in November, typically every year. But even at the presidential election, go vote for your senators, for your representatives, for your mayors, for your governors, for laws. That's really what's important, is these local elections that impact you directly immediately. Yeah, the president's going to impact us, but it's going to take a while. If you're voting for local laws, that's going to affect you immediately. Local taxes, that's going to affect you immediately. Number 2, join and build community. And this doesn't have to look like, you go to a rally every week. This could look like getting on your local Buy Nothing group and doing a clothing swap with some neighbors, attending a school board meeting and seeing how you can make your child's school more eco-friendly. So say, for example, there's really a lack of composting here, and I would love to see composting get started. But if I just went to my town hall and said, hey, we should compost, they're not going to listen to some random stranger who just moved here. But if I had a bunch of friends who came with me and we actually formulated a plan of action, and we could bring that to our city government and say, look, we have a step-by-step plan that you can take to implement composting. We have 100 people who signed this petition in order to do so, or whatever. These are all very similar. But number 3 is to inspire others to live an eco-friendly life as you. If one person, reduce 1 plastic water bottle per day, 365 per year, it matters, but it's not really making a dent when there are billions of plastic water bottles created every single year. So if you get the rest of your household to get on board, if you get your classmates, your coworkers, your friends to also get on board, and maybe you can have 20 people in your life, that's really going to add up. Encourage your friends to turn off the lights more often. Encourage your friends to recycle properly. You get the idea, how you can help your family become more zero waste. And I'll make a full video on that next year. All right, Ashley Stanley, would you ever do a video about which brands and companies support different politicians' political parties? Dan started it, and then he got me on the shopping small kick, and not just going to your local grocery store versus your big chain grocery store, both of those, but also within that small grocery store, shopping for small brands. For example, our favorite tofu brand, they're going out of business, is local. It's made right here in town, versus this big name brand tofu that's sold all across the world. We're gonna buy that local brand because it's right here in our town. It does take a lot of research to find these brands that you want to support, but once you've done the research once, you keep those brands in mind and you just keep buying them. Again, and there's apps like Goods Unite Us, so there are easier ways to go about this. If there's interest in a video on this topic, I'm definitely happy to talk about it. I love shopping, and yeah, it's really important that we vote with our dollars in this way, because many of us just think, I'm going to vote with my dollar by using a reusable water bottle instead of buying a plastic one. And that's a great way to vote with your dollar. I'm going to take that money I would have spent on Amazon and go spend it at a small boutique. That's great as well. There are things that we can't stop buying, like food. So it's a great way to further vote with your dollar by seeking out those small businesses and giving your money to a person, people who have the similar ideologies as you when it comes to the planet, instead of these companies that are pollutive, that are exploiting people. You get the idea. So if there's interest, I definitely would make a video about this. Ooh, Ashley again, what is your opinion on online thrift stores like ThredUp and similar? I haven't tried them because I'm afraid I won't get a quality item. Do you know if they are better or worse for the planet than shopping at a brick and mortar thrift store? I'll answer that second question first. I do not think they are better for the planet than shopping locally, simply just because of the shipping. ThredUp actually, the seller sends stuff to ThredUp, ThredUp lists it, and then ThredUp sends it to you. So there's a lot of shipping with ThredUp. But Depop, it's just a seller. I can list this right here, right now in my home on Depop and then send it to somebody. That's better, but there's still shipping. I think it's personally better to just go drop this off at my local thrift store where somebody in my neighborhood can go get it. Very little emissions, very eco-friendly, probably the cheapest for everybody involved. Resellers are affecting the thrift market. I'm not blaming resellers. You can check out my full thoughts on that topic in this video. But in short, thrift stores are the ones who are saying, oh, resellers are making us do this. That's what I find issue with, is big thrift stores using this as an excuse to mark up their items. Now, I have had some bad experiences online shopping. I have either not gotten something, maybe it didn't arrive in the quality that I was expecting, which is why these apps have you rate your sellers. And sellers can be taken down if they are scamming, if they are not sending stuff that is not what they showed in the pictures. I ordered something off of Mercari this summer and it said delivered, and I said, no Mercari, it is not delivered. I was scammed, and Mercari gave me my money back. So there are protections from these apps to ensure that you don't get scammed, or if you do, they will reimburse you. For example, I was looking for Crocs. I have really big feet. It's so much easier for me to just type in women's 11 size Crocs, find something online, and then it'll arrive at my door in 5 days. So if I'm looking for something really specific, I'll use these apps, but I definitely prefer to just go in person and have a little treasure hunt and usually save some money as well. Care Bear asks, do you have a sustainability routine for your cat? Not really a routine, but some sustainable things that I do for Mochi are we use Oko cat litter. It looks like this. It's made from reclaimed wood. Love it. The smell is so minimal. Eco-friendly. She seems to enjoy it enough. This is her favorite catnip. It is from formu.com. It's in a little cardboard thing and it comes packed all the way to the brim. And then really all she needs after that is a toy, and all of her toys are upcycled. And you want to know what this is? This is the hymns off of old t-shirts that I have cropped, and she loves to chase this thing. Cats are very easy to entertain for low waste and for free. Hopefully that answered your question. Doge asks if I have a video on my environmentalism journey. Yes, and you can check it out up here. I believe that was my last card. But in short, I grew up in rural US in Ohio, where we didn't have recycling. We didn't have air pollution. We didn't have any effects of climate change up there that I knew about when I was in high school. I would share stuff about stopping oil pipelines, and I would try to encourage my boss to recycle at work. Nothing really came of it until I moved to Texas, where I found out that recycling is not incentivized. All this valuable material is being sent to the landfill, so I dove really into recycling. And then I moved to Japan. I was in the military, by the way, where I was so gung-ho about recycling, and then I saw all this litter washing up on the shores of this island. Recycling means nothing. So that kind of switched all of my gears and started focusing on reducing. And that's when I started educating myself. All of my platforms were born when I was in Japan. That was 3 years, so to keep that really short, then I moved to Las Vegas, where I became very passionate about water conservation and bigger actions, hosting community cleanups, and really, it matters, but it doesn't on the grand scheme there. And then I moved to Washington for 6 months, where I learned about fires and more about Leave No Trace. Moved back to Ohio. I really can't say much of my environmentalism journey came from moving back to Ohio. And then I moved to northern Minnesota. Did I learn anything there? I guess about light pollution. I didn't really know much about light pollution until we moved there. So basically everywhere I have moved, I have picked up little bits and pieces about environmentalism. My journey is always ever changing and evolving. Okay, Jenny asks, I'm curious about how you handle family that aren't engaged in environmentalism. Basically just ignore all of your requests, especially when it comes to gifts. I thought you might like this. I'm like, I actually don't. I'm really sorry. It can be really hard, and honestly, you just have to have that hard conversation. I know at first we were definitely trying to protect our feelings, and it's like, oh, we don't really like this stuff, but eventually we just had to have a hard, honest conversation. Like, hey, this does not align with our beliefs about the environment. We feel bad because we are wasting your money. Like, if they don't care about the environment, make them care about themselves, I suppose. I know your gift is well-intentioned, but I do not like it, and therefore I'm going to throw it away. It's going to turn into waste, and you're wasting your money. So let's find a solution that will work better for all of us. And it can be very hard, and it really does take baby steps and leading by example. Every little action matters, so keep trying, and I can make a full video on this if there's interest. It's also hard to find that line between educating and nagging. You don't want anybody to feel like they're being talked down to. You don't want anybody to feel like they're stupid. You don't want anybody to feel like coming at them or trying to own them, So be kind, have these conversations, keep having the conversations, because for me, I had heard about climate change, global warming back in my day, for years, and I'm just like, oh, global warming's a scam. And then all of a sudden it clicked for me. So keep trying. One day it might click for these people. Nosa Cat says, any referrals to resources for families going sustainable? Resources, I would say, check out some of the content that I already have, such as Going Zero Waste with Kids, living zero waste as a family. I'll leave those videos tagged down below. And I would say start with the easiest swaps. For example, bamboo or recycled toilet paper from brands like Who Gives a Crap and Real. That swap is going to have very little impact on your family. It might feel a little bit different texturally, but it's still going to be basically the same thing that you're used to using, but it's more eco-friendly. Switch to a eco-friendly laundry detergent, eco-friendly dishwasher tab. Stuff that really is not going to affect your day-to-day routines. It's not going to affect anybody's lifestyle, but it will still increase the eco-friendliness of your family. And then from there, you can start taking stuff that maybe is a little bit more extreme. Maybe trying cooking meals from scratch. Telling your kids, hey, you have to use these reusable containers in your lunch boxes now. Hopefully that answers your question. If you have more specifics about it, let me know down below. Spider Wickian says, do you have any recommendations for living sustainably while in college? I've got how to live zero waste while in a college dorm, zero waste school supplies, how to make your school zero waste, how to start a recycling program at your school, living zero waste with roommates, living zero waste as a teenager, eco-friendly books to read, and of course my whole Zero Waste on a Budget series with over 350 ways to live zero waste totally for free can be implemented by any single person. I'll leave all those tagged down below for you. All right, Miss M asks, Rex for eco banking? No. Simply just because I have not done the research myself on this, but Gedemari Johansson has a great video about eco-banking that I will also leave tagged down below. But in short, any big bank, Chase, Wells Fargo, they're going to be bad for the planet. They invest your money into harmful practices such as fossil fuels. If you guys want me to make a video about eco-banking, I will, but Gedemari's video is excellent and it is tagged down below. Travel So Much asks, I would like tips for things that are necessary but inherently unsustainable, such as swimwear being made from plastic, etc., etc. Are these areas where you don't worry about sustainability? But broadly speaking here, for these things that are necessary but cannot be made sustainably, or it's very, very difficult to, shop secondhand. Obviously, like if you're buying a polyester swimsuit, it's still going to be made out of polyester. It's still going to break down to microplastics, but you're still reducing your personal environmental footprint and the footprint of that item by buying it secondhand. There is an eco-friendly swap for everything these days, depending on safety, right? Like climbing gear, I would not recommend getting climbing gear made from eco materials if that even exists due to safety. But if it's something like tennis shoes, there are brands like Allbirds that exist. They are made from wool and recycled rubber and other things like that. For swimwear, there are plenty of eco-friendly swimwear brands out there. I actually have a full free guide on how to spot greenwashing that is tagged down below. But basically look for, are these brands honest or are they vague? If they're vague, they might be greenwashing. Do they have third-party certifications such as B Corp or organic or whatever it might be? Do they have proof about how they made these items? And yeah, it can be difficult to like sift through all these different brands and find what works for you and what works for the environment. My best advice here is shop secondhand and do some research. And honestly, don't be afraid to reach out to the brand too. Like if you see their website and you say, hey, you look sustainable, but your website's a little bit vague and I just really wanted an answer on XYZ, don't be afraid to reach out to them. All right, Blake asks, how will Trump affect the environment? What are some ways that we can fight against his administration? Trump is going to be bad for the environment. I just finished a full video analyzing Trump's first administration, how his pick for the EPA is absolutely detrimental, and what Project 2025 has to say about the environment. Right here. What can we do? Follow organizations like Earth Justice and Greenpeace. They are doing like really great work on the ground. Some of my favorite activists that you can follow are Alyssa Barber, Elise Joshi, Karishma Climate Girl, Ree Lauren, Garbage Queen. I have more on my website that are also tagged down below. Plenty of resources for you guys tagged down below. You can check out my activism channel on Instagram where I post action items. Basically, follow these people and do all the action items that they say. Sign petitions, write letters, call your representatives, vote for your local laws that protect the environment, vote for local politicians that uphold environmental values, your Senate and your representatives. All right, we'll move on to the few we got from Instagram. First, we have, what has brought you the most joy recently? What a lovely question. Thank you for asking. Especially in November. I normally love November because it's my birthday month. And normally it feels festive, but well, one, post-election, nothing feels festive because like we're in Northern California now where winter is like 50 and rainy, and I'm used to snow in the winter. Or even in Vegas, like it was still cold in Vegas in the winter. It still felt Christmassy. It does not feel Christmassy here. Cuddling my critters always brings me joy, lifts my spirits, makes me feel good. And then also going up in the woods. When it's not raining, we go up to the forest all the time, being amongst the giant redwoods and nature in general, seeing the slugs and seeing the little mushrooms and seeing the little plants. Whiskey Moonbeams asks, water conservation tips beyond a rain barrel. I got 50 tips for water conservation. This video tagged down below, and I don't think any of them include a rain barrel because I have never been able to have one myself. They are not illegal, but they can be expensive and difficult to install. And if you don't have an actual house, you don't have the means to install one, maybe you rent, you live in a small space, you can't necessarily have one. You know, turning off the water when you brush your teeth, shortening your shower by a minute, catching that water that your shower spits out while it's heating up and using that water for something else in your house. If you can catch the rain, like we probably will here, just by setting out some bowls and buckets. You don't have to have a rain barrel. You can just set out some buckets and bring that water inside and use it. All right, Nice Jenny asks, how do I find an ethical fashion brand for plus sizes? Do they exist? Yes, they exist, but not very common. Unfortunately, there are very few mainstream brands that are size inclusive, let alone sustainable brands. Just like I said with the one from Travel So Much, my biggest tip here is to shop secondhand, especially because that's the most sustainable thing you can do. And then shopping a sustainable brand, because shopping a sustainable brand, yeah, it's more sustainable than fast fashion, but it still requires resources. It still requires shipping and transportation. So secondhand is always going to be the best option for the environment. Here's a list of some plus size eco-friendly brands. Hopefully that list is helpful though. And lastly, from Olive Rose, what are you most excited to learn about in your botany degree? I don't know if I've talked about it much on YouTube, but I'm starting school in just a few weeks for botany, and I'm so excited. Why am I going back to school? What am I going to do with that degree? I simply just want to learn about plants. Yes, I understand it is an extreme privilege to go to school just to simply learn. Obviously, if a job comes out of it, amazing, but my goal right now is to just go learn and also use my GI Bill. Once again, being in the military, I did earn my GI Bill, which gets me 4 years of free school. Because I already have college experience, this will only be 2 years of that 4-year degree, like, option. So give me ideas on what I should do after my botany degree. I gotta use it all. I earned it. What am I most excited about to learn? I can't think of anything specific, but I am so excited for all the field trips that we go on for the botany program. We go out into the woods all the time, look at plants, log them, study them, take them back to school. The school also has a greenhouse. I'm truly just excited to go learn about plants. I love the scientific name. I love learning about leaf structures. I love learning about how all the plants are connected underground. My fascination for trees really began summer 2022. And from there, trees are my favorite. Trees are and always will be my favorite, but I have started to love other plants as well and really be interested in learning about them. And also, I just have such a knack for it. I'll see a plant and be like, yeah, that's strawberries. Yeah, that's rosemary. Yeah, that's oxalis, like whatever. Like these random plants that I have seen very few times. Just, I remember it. Yeah, again, I don't really know what I want to do with the degree. If anything, I could see myself being an educator about plants, you know, like a park ranger. I could see myself being more of a naturalist, like not talking to the public at all, collecting plants and studying them. I could also see myself being like in the restoration side of it, removing invasive species, helping species recover after a fire or some other natural disaster. And also I've kind of been toying around with the idea of pursuing then herbology afterward, about like medicinal plants, not in the alt-right way, okay? In the I believe in big pharma, but I also believe in plants way. I rely on big pharma to survive. And maybe starting like an herbalist tea shop. That would be so fun. So many things could come of this degree. I have 2 years to figure it out. That being said, content will probably have to take a step back in January. Probably YouTube, unfortunately. It is the most time consuming. I would still love to put out 1 video per week. Something perhaps a little bit less scripted. Something where I can just Google like good eco news and read off the good eco news events to you. Something about like, come vlog with me while we furnish our home secondhand. Stuff that doesn't take a whole lot of editing, scripting, preparing. That's the kind of content that I'll be focusing on. Definitely follow me on Instagram. That's where I'm going to be the most active next year when it comes to posting daily in the form of reels and infographics, posting to my stories, posting to that activism channel. TikTok, I will post on there every now and then until they ban it. I'm sure that that is on their agenda. And I'll also be posting action items to the YouTube community page, so stay tuned over there as well. I love working for myself, don't get me wrong. I love making content, being creative, educating myself, educating others. Pay is not secure. I get paid enough. And 2, it can be a little bit boring and repetitive. So I am excited to go to school, do something different with my brain, do something different with my body. I'll be walking to school. Thank you all for asking your questions. Thank you for being a part of this channel, a part of all of my socials. If you've been here since the beginning or you subscribed yesterday, thank you to all of you. I really am so glad that I get to do this as my job. Again, it doesn't pay millions of dollars. It pays enough to survive, and that is fine by me. I would much rather do something with my life that I am truly passionate about and I love doing than getting paid a lot of money for a job that I hate, like being in the military. This has been my first full year out of the military, which has been, oh my gosh, amazing. I don't know if it reflects as much online as it does in person, but man, I was sad. I will see you in the next video, which I am just about to film, which is a fun review of K&S period underwear made by Shaw Bizzle and Catherine Kellogg. I'm reviewing that next, so I'll see you in that video. But until then, remember that your small actions make a big difference in the long run. Bye, guys.